right. All right. Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We are going to be doing some hobbying today. We're going to be basing some Warhammer Age of Sigmar miniatures, and I'm going to be starting out with these Liberators that I have been finishing up, and I need to do some basing on them, and hopefully they'll end up looking something a little bit closer to this. These are the old style Liberators. These are the new style Liberators, and yeah, I'm gonna be doing those guys. I've got some endless spells I've got to put basings on also. This one's not done, and I've got to do this little tornado of hammers as well, so I've got to put some basing material on all of those. So yeah, so that's what we're working on today. And oh my goodness, my camera's falling down. So yeah, this is the setup. I've been doing a lot of painting, been working on the backlog, and we're gonna be using this stuff today. This is Vallejo texture. Let me see, it's here. It's this one. It's earth texture. I have a couple of different ones, but I've been using this one for all my Stormcast Eternals, and I usually like to have factions have a very similar base style. So if you guys are hanging out with me today, let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to kind of chat with you guys, have a good time. I'm gonna be using, I've got my little catch-all bag here. I've got my grass, and I've got leaves and stuff like that, and I've got all of that, which is always a fun thing to do. Let me see, I got my old water cup here. I'm gonna get some old brushes, old yucky brushes to do this. And yeah, let's see. Here's an old yucky brush. I can use this one. Oh, this is a good one for that too. All right, so we've got some old yucky brushes, and I am going to get. Oh, this was a fun one too. This was a giant from the game Conquest, and he was on this size base, but I put him on a larger base, so I can use him as a proxy for the big giants that the Sons of Bahamut, who are in the game. And an interesting thing about Age of Sigmar is with the new 4th edition, there's now Regiments of Renown, and you can basically take a giant in almost any army, maybe all armies. But yeah, you can get giants in your armies now, and even if you're not running giants, you can still have a giant. All right, we're gonna get that. All right, and we'll be doing these guys one at a time. And yeah, so I'm like, all right. And so I ran a giant the other day with my Skaven, which I should probably do some more video showcasing and show you guys some of my rats. And yeah, let's see if I can get a closer look at the process here. Let me see if I can adjust the camera a little bit. Here we go. So I don't base my miniatures first. I know some people will base their miniatures before they put the minis on. I don't do that. I like to put the minis on first, and then if I get some dirt on their feet, so be it. They're walking through muddy dirt anyway, and I'll deal with that. And if my finger slips and I get a whole bunch of mud all over them, then I'll try and like clean it off. But yeah, so we've got, and then I'll kind of go back over and maybe add a little texture, add a couple of thicker spots, because I'll probably want to put some rocks in, and the rocks need to go into slightly thicker spots. All right, so I'm gonna just do one. A lot of times I'll do these in batches. So I'll probably do 2 first, and I'll also take my finger and kind of go around like that. I've got an old rag here I'll wipe stuff off with. There we go. All right. So hopefully you guys are having a great day today. Let me know. Mr. Kayama says, watching from his prep period while you're at work. You're a middle school teacher in Utah. You love the content. What do I do when I'm not hobbying? I've been playing video games lately. My wife finally talked me into installing World of Warcraft, and I am trying that out for. I won't necessarily say the first time, but it's kind of like the first time. I had played a quick trial of it once, like 10 or 15 years ago. It didn't go very far. No, it was just I was trying something out. It was a free trial, and I couldn't play very much. I couldn't get very far, so I ended up not playing it. But I play every other Blizzard game. Well, most other Blizzard games, at least in some capacity. So I was like, well, let me give this a try. So I'm leveling up little by little. I'm taking it very slow because I have an addictive personality. If I end up liking something, and I don't want to become like I'm raiding every day and WoW, you know. Play some guitar, make a lot of YouTube videos, as you guys know. But I do like hobbying. I will a lot of times I'll listen to audiobooks when I'm doing painting and when I'm out here. And so a lot of books. Waiting for some more Brandon Sanderson books to come out. He's got, I think the next Stormlight Archive book is coming out soon. So that's exciting. All right, so we're done with those. We've got all kinds of tufts. We've got gamer grass tufts. We've got some from Shadow's Edge miniatures that we could use. But for these, I'm going to be going with some of these from Green Stuff World. I picked up this thing. Let me zoom out a little bit. This is a Tuft box from Green Stuffed World. A little starter kit that I bought. I didn't necessarily need a starter kit, but this had some PVA glue. It had some real big tufts. It had lots of littler tufts and stuff like that. So I'm gonna use some of those. But before I put tufts on, I am going to. Oh, and another thing I liked about that starter is it came with this pair of this Gamer Grass. Did I say Green Stuff World? I said this was from Green Stuff World. I'm sorry, this is from Gamer Grass. This is not. Do I plan on doing any Legion hobbying streams anytime soon? Well, this is the same stuff that I do for Legion, so this is the same or very, very similar format. But yeah, I have my Bad Batch guys that are primed, but not painted yet. So I've got work to do on them. And of course, there's new stuff coming out soon, and hopefully they announce Gungans sooner rather than later, because I really want to get started on Gungans. I go through phases, and since Age of Sigmar just had its new edition, and the Skaventide box, which is a massive box, did come out. I think this is kind of the last stuff from Skaventide that I needed to get working, get kind of built and painted. So, and then I tap that off, and there we go. All right, looks just like that. So nice and grassy, which is pretty cool. Super easy to do this. I could use some other tools or whatever, but that's okay. I'll just get grass on my fingers, and I don't have to get grass everywhere. I can have empty spots if I want. I can then take some little rocks. I wanna rock. All right, and normally I would just put the rocks on there, but now I like using this because then I can get it into like the little raised part that has the extra material on there, and kind of push it down a little bit so it sinks in. Do you see how it kind of sinks into the texture? That means it'll dry around there and kind of hold it in much better. If you don't do that, if you just kind of let it rest on top, a lot of times it will pop out, and I don't like it when the rocks pop out. You know, granted, I'm going to seal it when I'm done, and that's also a little extra kind of stickiness and adhesive kind of properties to it. But that's something else that happens. I'm not super crazy about. Not super crazy. All right, I'm gonna get some of these. I don't want to go overboard with the tufts, just a few. Now you can put PVA glue on there, but if you put them on here while this texture is still wet, you don't have to use PVA glue. I can just do, you know, a little bit here and a little bit there. And that will dry into, boop, that will dry into it. All right, and then this guy, I'll just do one for him. Put that one right in there in the middle. Perfect. And those guys, well, they're not totally done because the very last step, well, there's two more steps. But then basically one step is putting black paint around the rim. Always paint your rims. It really helps bring the whole thing together. And then after that, then I got to seal them with some matte varnish. But that is the process. That is the process. We're gonna run through it again. But it's a pretty simple. Now there's plenty more tactics. Like I've done water effects before. If you want to do water effects, you kind of have to sculpt a little bit more. You want to sculpt like a riverbed, kind of. And so I would want to put a really, really thick and kind of push back, you know, to something like that, to where the water, because the water is gonna be resin, and I'd want to have it to give it like a natural stopping point. I'm not going to do water effects on these guys, although I'll have to showcase, because I've done some water effects before. It's really cool. It's a beautiful way to base some of your miniatures. I'll showcase some of the water effects that I've done in another video. I'm probably going to start, I should start doing some more Age of Sigmar videos because I've been playing a lot more. I really, really like the game. It's super fun. It's one of my favorite games right now. The new edition seems really good. And the minis are super cool. And I'm trying some new factions too. I played Skaven for the first time. If you're not familiar with Age of Sigmar, these guys here are called Stormcast Eternals. They're kind of like your human powerful knights. They play in some ways similar to like clones in Legion, and that you have fewer guys, but they're more elite. And then you have certain really powerful units. Like you don't have Jedi, but you have dragons and stuff. And Stormcast are also the most popular. They're kind of the golden child of this game. They're similar. People call them like the Space Marines of Age of Sigmar, because like every new release like has new Stormcast stuff, whereas the other factions don't always get as many new things. So Stormcast has by far the most new units, the most units total, and they're always getting new units because I guess they're probably the most popular faction in the game. But I liked them because they have really pretty armor, and it makes for fun paint jobs. I like painting armor more so than I like painting like organic pieces, and a lot of the other races are a little more primal, a little more like native looking, or in some cases unrefined, or monstrous, or something like that, or where they just don't have the armor. They have, you know, maybe chitin plating, or rags hanging off them, or there's some kind of creature that just has fur or something like that. And that's not as fun for me when it comes to painting. So that's one of the reasons I initially liked Stormcast so much. Also, they had just announced that they were getting some new dragons like a year or two ago when I started collecting Stormcast. So I actually have quite a bit of Stormcast Eternals right now. Probably enough for, I want to say, maybe 3 armies worth of Stormcast right now. So yeah. All right, so we've got these guys. We're gonna put them in here. All right. And the idea is we just sprinkle. I could just drop it all over the mini, but I usually like to get it on the base first and foremost. Oh man, there's like a dog hair. Oh no. All right, I gotta pull the dog hairs off. All right. This one's gonna have a little more dirt showing because I didn't get grass everywhere, but that's totally fine. It's not supposed to be perfectly uniform. It's not at all. All right, I'm trying to put a pebble on most of them. Yeah, I got a spot for a rock right there. Boop. You're gonna go right there in the middle. Okay. And get a tuft over here by your foot. Oh no, that one's going off. There we go. Got it pressed down. Perfect. And I'll just wipe the sides. Sometimes I'll run my finger around the edge like that. So let's see. What are you guys all up to? Let's see. Mad Drop Air says, I've always loved them as a faction, but I was never into the poster boys or even those Anvil boys. I wanted to develop them as Astral Templars. Dracolines are my favorite mounts. Oh, they're very, very, very good. Sean, what's going on, Sean? He's painting his prosecutors now. Oh, you're going to run them Thursday? I think we're painting some, we're playing some Age of Sigmar this week. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I'm running these guys or not. I don't know if I am. I actually really don't like these guys all that much. Like, mechanically, they're okay, but they're not my favorite. They're not... They're okay, though. They have grand weapons, at least. So you can have a 2 damage attack with one of your guy. Oh, that's 2 rocks. I got 2 rocks. He's going to have 2 rocks here. Okay. 2 rocks for you. And we're going to put this one right there. Uh-huh. Boom shakalaka. Okay. You know what? You're going to get a second tuft because I want you to be a little different. All right. There we go. Oh, let me clean off my tweezers. All right. That's 4 guys down. 6 to go. Well, more than 6 because I've got endless spells and other things like that. And I've got one of these guys too. This guy is called a Knight Questor. I know that because I flipped it over and I had written Knight Questor on there. This guy will never get played, and I didn't paint him as good as I wanted to. I wanted to put some more red on different parts of him, and I just stopped and said, you're good enough. You're going to be done right there, buddy. That's all you're getting. Yeah. This was one of the few Stormcasts I just said, that's good enough. I'm done. I don't want to do any more on him. Because he is a guy, his whole thing is he synergizes with these other quest knights, but they're only available in like a different games thing. And I'm like, nope, I'm not buying that. I'm not going to buy Warcry just to make this guy. And it's not even that good of a buff. It's like a small little, I think it's like a movement buff or something like that he gives them. It's like, it's not even that big of a deal. Like if it was like really, really fun ability, then maybe. But just like, oh no. He looks cool, but I'm just like, not gonna happen. Not today, buddy. Can't do it for you. You're gonna have to sit in the bag and not come out. Although I bet you, like, they'll make another spearhead that'll have those other guys in there at some point. They're probably trying to get people to buy into Warcry now, and then for those that don't, they'll eventually put those other little dudes in there. That's my guess. I'm sure they'll come up with some other dudes for him to interact with someday. Well, actually, I think this coming weekend at Nova, Games Workshop is going to be previewing new Stormcast stuff. So maybe we'll see something really cool. I think they should do another like Celestant Prime guy or whoever so if you look at the old prosecutors, and anybody who's played Age of Sigmar, the old prosecutors are these angel type dudes, and they had like these laser rays instead of wings. But the new ones have more wings that look more like wings. And I think the Celestant Prime had kind of the same type of look to it. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a reprint of that particular dude, because he had that outdated style. Oh, I'm getting mud all over this guy's cloak, and I don't care. I don't care. Because I'm going to put grass on it, too. He's been trudging through the mud. That's my thought here. This is a really thick brush. This is not the kind of brush you should be trying to do detailed work with. I'm going to go ahead and swap it out This is another old brush. Look at the head on this brush. It's super messed up, right? This is why I can't use this one to paint anymore. But I can get it in there and work this stuff around, right? I can work it around. Oh, that foot's not all the way down. That's right, because these weren't like glue models. These were like, oh, push fit models. I hate those. I still glued them mostly, but I didn't glue them everywhere. I think I didn't glue them into the base all the way because I was like, I might have to take it off so I could base the model. But I'm not doing that, am I? Oh, come on, get in there. Fill that hole. Fill that hole up. Boop. There we go. That one's done. I'm going to go on to this side. A little more tiny brush strokes for this one. Some models are much easier for me to base with this method than others. The ones that have a whole lot of stuff going on, especially the ones with long cloaks, take much longer to do. And normally I wouldn't do those on stream because I have to sit there and focus a little bit more instead of chatting with you guys. But this guy's, he got caught up in the middle. There's only one of him. There's only one of him. L Fire Spray, what's going on? L is in the house, lurking while working. Love that pink. Oh, these guys are in evolution. I'm gonna show you my old Liberators, and you can see I've been trying to do all my Stormcast in like a pink and purple. Now this is an army that is canonically, like if you like look at their production stuff, it's all blue. It's blue and gold for everybody, and I decided I wanted to do pink and silver primarily. And I've got a couple other colors in there. I've got highlights of blue and sometimes highlights of red for text and everything like that. And lots, every once in a while, I'll give one army or one type of troop one thing to stand out. Like these guys, I gave them a blue shoulder pad. Let me show you the old. This is the old Liberators that I had done. They ended up being a little bit more purple than pink, right? But yeah, they're a little bit darker, but I gave them blue shields. So that's that. This is the old style. And since I built these guys without shields, I wanted to pay tribute to the older guys. So I gave them the blue shoulder pad. So that's the evolution of the Liberator. And you can still use the old Liberators, and I still may do that. If I ever need to run like a whole bunch of Liberators, and I don't know. There's not that much need to run that many Liberators because they're kind of a backline defender, and you don't need that many backline. You know, you don't need that many rear guard, so to speak. You know, you need to have a mixture of defense and offense. And in the Skaventide box, you have 2 units of Liberators or a double size unit, which is, I think, more than you typically need for backline defense. So it's rare that I would need to run my old guys too. Again, they all kind of come in groups of 2 units. So am I going to really need to run 3 or even 4 units of backline defenders? I just don't see it. But maybe, who knows? Anything can happen when you're making magic. When you are dancing with the wolves, like Kevin Costner. Push some more of this mud right up around that guy. Yeah. All right. Let's put some green tufts on there. We're getting a big tuft right there, right next to your part of your cloak that got all the mud on it. That's okay. We're gonna be a little dirty because we're nasty, dirty knights. Dirty knights. That sounds ridiculous. All right. Sean says, maybe I'm a slow painter. Yeah, you are a slow painter, sir, but you are a wonderful painter. I don't know if you're really that slow. I think you're probably a typical speed. I'm more of a speed painter. I try to get things done very, very quickly. And every once in a while, I will paint something slow. I'll pick one thing that I really want to take my time with and go slow with it. I did some more work on this guy. Like, he's getting there. Like, I think I'm at a stopping point for right now, but I added a lot more detail to him. He's I put like some of the extra coats and added some of the details, and I put that shoulder pad back on him, which fell off. So he's if after, because I may have to use him again. So yeah, my Giants is getting there. He's got a little more work done on him. I'm happy with how he's coming along. He's making progress. He's getting some work done. All right. Let's see here. Going back to the big brush. Man, I am so annoyed. I had my favorite paint in the world. One of my favorite paints in the world is this one right here. Retributor Armor. I hate Citadel's pots because I took this Retributor Armor. I was going to put gold on these guys. There is some gold on them, if you can tell. The lightning bolt is gold, but it's a very light gold because I had to use different gold. Retributor Armor is a very vivid, bright, and wonderful, powerful gold. And I could not use it because the whole thing had dried out. It was solid. I tried to put some liquids in there to see if I could revivify it. But the Retributor Armor was now a solid chunk of rock, which is really unfortunate. This has happened to me with so many Citadel paints. The paint pots are awful. And so I usually don't get very much in Citadel anymore. There are certain things that are very, very good with Citadel that I'll still get it for. They have some contrast paints that are absolutely spectacular. Their Null Oil is a fantastic wash. So is Agrax Earthshade. You know, I love their washes. And some paints like Retributor Armor are still very near and dear to my heart. So, yeah. So, I'm going to have to get some more of that. I don't know, man. I don't know what a good gold is outside of... I think, Sean, I don't know if you're still watching. You were mentioning a really good gold, I think. Or maybe it was just a different metal color. But I may look into something else. I don't know if it's going to beat Retributor Armor, though. I don't know if it will. Or it might be worth doing the Pepsi Challenge with them, looking at different golds. You know, that could be a fun thing to do, comparing different paints. I'm going to start... I'm going to get back into Starship painting here pretty soon. And because I've got some Armada proxy ships I've got to paint up soon. I was going to pull out the airbrush. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. That could be a fun one. Oh, man. All right. I'm not getting in that hole. I'm going to go over to this side. And then I'll pull out the smaller brush and fine-tune the pieces that I... Give me a big chunk right there. There we go. All right. Okay. And then we got the little bits. Yes. So how's everybody doing today? You guys doing anything fun? It's a Tuesday. I have a open house to go to for one of the kids' schools. So I got to go and meet teachers and all of that stuff. Let's see. All right. Do you have any mini crab on the models? No. Andrew says, where are those tufts from? I know Army Painter, and I don't like how uniform they are. These are from Gamer's Grass. These tufts come out of this box right here, the Grass Tuft Starter Box. And it is also the box that I got this little tuft tweezers in. Hal just got into Age of Sigmar. Flesh Eater Quartz, Rule of Cool. They are pretty cool. They are pretty cool. They're mostly like they have the vampires that are like skin, right? They're like very like monstrous looking. That is a very scary looking army if you're putting it together. I saw them. Not one of my favorites, but respect for sure. I've heard that they're actually pretty cool to play. I like the Kedaran Overlord. Basically, the Sky Dwarves with their airships. That's one of the things that I got my eye on, but I don't want to overextend because I know from playing Legion, it's very easy to get overextended and be like, oh, I buy the new Separatist thing that came out, and then the new Empire thing, and the new Clones thing, and then the new Rebel thing, and then the new Shadow Collective thing, as if there would ever be a new Shadow Collective thing. But, you know, it's easy to get kind of lost in all of the new stuff that comes out. Oh, there's new Bounty Hunters, and, you know, and all of these different armies. So that's it's definitely a challenge for the wallet. And so here, yeah, I'm being really careful on what how many factions and how many armies I want to collect. And that's one of the reasons I really like having a giant. Nobody gets rich. Oh, I don't know. In mini wargaming, you know, honestly, I think I would say we all get rich because you could go to a movie. Maybe you take you and a guest go to a movie and get some popcorn. You're gonna probably spend about $50. You know, you 2 movie tickets, popcorn and a drink, or a drink for each of you. You know, you're gonna spend 50, or you spend $50 on a unit of 10 miniatures, 10 Space Marines, 10 Stormcast Eternals, whatever. Now the movie is going to entertain you for 3 hours. I mean, usually probably a little less, you know, but this Stormcast Eternals are going to entertain you for much longer. So as far as the value that you gain from these, it has more of a time component to it. It lasts longer, and think about all of the time assembling, and then painting, and then doing what I'm doing right here, basing, and then building lists, and finally playing the game, and then maybe photographing them, you know, or if you film battle reports or something like that, comparing notes with other players, and the entire social aspect that comes into the game as well. I would argue that you become very rich in spirit once you get into tabletop gaming, and especially mini war gaming. So, you know, it does depend on your perspective, but that is one very interesting way to look at things, is how you become rich in spirit. And that's my positive takeaway for the day. Something to keep in mind. All right, I've got 2 more Liberators after this guy. All right, put some grass on there. Beautiful. Put a couple of these. So I've done other videos before on like how to base stuff and tips and tricks, and I've got, you know, these bags of leaves that we could put down there. Now this rock is a little loose. I don't much like it, so I'm going to add a little extra to the sides. I'm adding a little more over here on this guy to give him a little more structure, make him a little sturdier. And that's okay, because then the extra part that's there, I mean, I don't mind if extra dirt is flowing through, because it doesn't need to be uniform, but I can also put an extra tuft right on there as well. And now he is golden, or pink and silver. So yeah, these guys are a little more pink than I normally do my Stormcast. I initially started with a color scheme where I was going to have them fade from purple on the bottom to pink on the top. And that was when I bought my Dominion box years ago. And since they've kind of, I haven't always done it with the airbrush. Like these guys, I tried to do it with a brush. I tried to make them more purple on the bottom, and the pink turned out to be too red on the top. So it didn't end up working out the way I wanted it to. It's hard when you're trying a gradient fade with an airbrush and trying to replicate the same effect months apart. It's tricky to do. So I ended up just going a little bit more straight up pink and letting kind of a custom wash go over the top of them. That didn't work out that well. I had to repaint some pieces, like this guy. They had a lot of wash and coffee stain buildup on the leg plates here. So then I put made a custom pink metallic to kind of go onto the leg plates. I don't know if you can see it that well, but it doesn't show up that pronounced, but if you look closely, you'll see it. But I thought it was a nice way to add just minor little touches, you know. I had thought a theory for this army that they were going to be like all dragon servants, right? They're sworn allegiance to Karazai, who is my red dragon. But then little by little, I've branched away from the color scheme with a few models. You know, when I picked up a second Karazai, so I painted him up as Krondis, and so he is blue. And then I picked up Ionian, the third big dragon, the most recent one they just came out with, Cryptborn, Ionis Cryptborn, and he is more of a light blue and purple. A lot of pastels, a lot of Easter colors in this army. Again, the dragons don't necessarily have to have allegiance to other dragons. Although they're, I mean, a different kind of allegiance, like maybe like a camaraderie rather than a sovereign commitment, right? What the humans would have. You know, it's like the elite versus the plebeians, kind of. So that was the thought, is that my Stormcast Eternals, the ground troops for the most part, are, you know, pledged loyalty to the dragons in some way. And yeah, oh, wait, hold on. We gotta do this guy too. Forgot you. But yeah, there's a fly buzzing around in here. And I was thinking, well, how funny would it be if a fly landed in my basing material? I think I'd have to try and let him out. It would be a kind of a messed up way to die. And I don't want to fly in my on my base. Unless it was some kind of insect-based army, that would actually be really cool if you could manage that. Put like flypaper on your bases and see how many, you know, little flies you can catch. That would, or if you were a frog army, that would actually be really cool. If there was some kind of frog-based army, and you would put flypaper on your base to catch flies, that would be a little morbid, because you would actually have real corpses on your bases. Oh my goodness, that'd be sick. I don't know if I could get behind that, but it's an idea. It's worth theory crafting, like weighing the pros and cons. I think there's probably more cons than pros, but it's still interesting. I don't know. What do you guys think about something like that? If you had some kind of like mutant frog army, would you put like real insect carcasses on the base? And would they hold up? Would they decompose, is the thing, right? Would they eventually not even look right? Because it might not even be worth the effort. That's something else to think of with using fake stuff versus real stuff. Is how long is it going to last? Is the juice going to be worth the squeeze, so to speak? All right, those are my little grassy bits. Now we're going to populate the base with some extra roughage and things. Rocks. You're going to get 2 rocks because you got extra thick dirt. There we go. And you're going to get just 1. You're going to go right there. Okay. And we get our tufts. You're going to have 2 tufts over here, a tiny one, boop, and then a bigger one. Oh, that's a much bigger one. Okay, you can go in the back. I don't usually put the tufts on the back, so that's going to make this guy a little different. He's special. He's wearing a grand hammer, or the grand weapon, though. So the cool thing about these guys is 1 out of every 5 can carry a grand weapon. That's this 2-handed hammer. It does twice as much damage as the normal weapon, so it's a damage 2 characteristic. And I come to find out something. I was having a discussion with some Age of Sigmar players yesterday. If you do a rebirth or a reinforcement ability where you bring these guys back with half of their other number, if I've got a unit of 10, which would mean I had 2 grand hammers, and then they're totally wiped out and I have to bring them back with 5, can I pick the models? Can I bring like 2 grand weapons back and 3, normal guys? And it turns out I absolutely can, even though initially people didn't think that I could do that. But in the rules, it specifically says when you bring somebody back with a set number, you pick which models from the original unit you choose to return. And so that is one thought for running a double-sized Liberator army. So I thought that was a cool thing. Sean says, would varnish keep these guys fresh? Oh, like if I put the insect in there. Sorry, I'm only looking at the chat once in a while. It could. I mean, I guess it depends on the varnish. I don't know if miniature grade matte varnish, like spray paint varnish, is strong enough to keep them intact? I don't know. That's a really interesting question. I imagine it would be mostly good, but it might not hold up. You know, it'd probably hold up for at least a year, but I don't know how long it would hold up for. You'd probably have better luck getting 3D printed stuff so you can actually get the sculpts you like and stuff like that also. Because again, if a fly landed on fly paper, you'd have a hard time getting it out onto this. But if a fly landed on this, I mean, what if he started walking around and he got covered in dirt and then was unrecognizable? You know, like there's all kinds of a risk that goes into that. Oh man, I should have done this before I did this. I should have done this base before I glued this down, because this is going to be a pain in the butt trying to get in there. Isn't it? It is. It's okay though. It's okay. I'm not worried about it. We get some dirt on it, and that's just dirt that's being spun up by the tornado. It's like Twister. Oh, I can go in this way. I can go. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be tricky. I'm gonna water the brush down a little bit. I'm gonna go in like that. Okay, that's how we're doing it. I'm going in from the top. I'm like Dr. Strange. I'll do it manually. Oh boy. I'm not at all like Dr. Strange, but he would be a great miniature painter. There's all those memes of like the shoulder pads with the checkerboard and stuff. And he's like, I'll do it live. I can and I will. Oh, you can't freehand that. All right. Okay, there we go. I don't think I'm going to do too much crazy stuff with this one. I'm going to run my finger around the edge, though, to keep the edge a little smooth. It's harder to do that after it dries. And I've got one more to do. That's this flying disc right here. This one is one of those endless spells I don't think I'm going to use very much. And, oh, Sean, if you are watching, I did pick up all the rest of the endless spells, or at least the big multi-pack or whatever. Found it on eBay. I was really annoyed. I was looking at endless spells. They have them. You can buy a lot of stuff on the England version of GW's website. But then as soon as you tell them you're in America, they're like, oh, that's out of stock. So in other words, they will not ship to America. You would have to have somebody in England to ship it to you. And so like the endless spells was only like 50 something pounds or whatever, 55, like 60 pounds, which is, I don't know what the exact conversion rate is. And I was like, oh, that's much better than spending like $100 here for. But then if you figure, and then the cost of shipping it would be probably another $100 on top of that. I'm like, no, never mind. So I ended up finding one for like 90 or something like that. But it was all of the generic endless spells in like one box. So yeah, and the dogs are going crazy. What are the dogs doing? They're going nuts. They're going crazy. All right, here's this little guy. All right, I'm gonna put some of this dirt on there. Oh, not dirt. Okay, these don't need to be as fancy because these aren't centerpiece. These are just little extra things. And now, boom, we're done. We are done. Done. And I have to go figure out what is going on with the doggos. All right, guys, that was it. We had some fun. Did some stuff. I got a little more to do later on. I got to put some black around the rims and seal them up, and then figure out what next to move on to in the pile of shame. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. And I will talk to you. If I missed your comment, I apologize. I'll try to get to all of them, but I will talk to you later. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes, and have a great day. And always wash your socks.